the NDC, has alleged that the discrepancies they have detected with the provisional voters register, we have cleaned up the provisional voters register and corrected.
Once again, Emra Jumadi is Athanasia. Yere Sama Ekoso El Omaiganamu, Ebre Herfona, after set NDC, Amonokono, any opposition. Woman mounted pressure on easy set on your forensic audit. Na ebe ensembebri El Omaimono. Easy at Miasia political parties are. Womu Omaiganamu 2024 election. Womu Ekomna and Ochino. Ensembebri and a film of a quick one. Commander according Komobia. Odemu info nyina eba bara nsana no ebese yekọ na yenya boche na e video no esi na ewia ensama commander de ba cheni de abusia ano edi ede ensam na easy wo boss wo de tuda quick one yekoba commander ede mu nchemu nyina besaba.
Indeed, this is the day the Lord has made, and we rejoice and we are glad in it. Our meeting here this morning is to provide you with an update of progress made towards the cleaning of the provisional voters register and to receive your inputs, which we believe will further enhance the credibility of the provisional voters register. As part of the Commission's efforts to ensure transparency and accountability in all its processes, we have decided that this meeting and all subsequent IPAC meetings will be covered by the media. It is important to note at the very onset of today's meeting that we have made significant progress towards cleaning the provisional voters register and ridding it of discrepancies since it was first exhibited in all 40,000 plus exhibition centers across the country. Over the last few weeks, the Commission has employed tried and tested legal and administrative processes to clean the provisional register and rid it of discrepancies as envisaged by the framers of the 1992 Constitution and CI 91 as amended by CI 126. As a Commission, we can confidently state that most of the discrepancies discovered to date have been resolved. Ladies and gentlemen, over the last few weeks, there have been discussions in the public space as to the credibility or otherwise of the provisional voters register. The largest opposition party, the NDC, has alleged that the discrepancies they have detected with the provisional voters register make it unfit for the 2024 election. They have in this regard called for a forensic audit of the provisional voters register. It is important to note that the discrepancies initially identified in the provisional voters register cut across all regions. Assertions that the discrepancies in the provisional voters register are aimed or were aimed at disenfranchising voters in certain parts of the country are untrue. That said, we have cleaned up the provisional voters register and corrected all discrepancies identified to date. Ladies and gentlemen, following a meeting called at the instance of the NDC to discuss the discrepancies detected by the party, the NDC presented the Commission with 5 categories of issues they had identified with the provisional register. At the meeting, they highlighted a few examples of each category. Following this, the Commission requested the full data from the NDC with the assurance that it would investigate the data presented and present and provide a report of its findings to the NDC within a week. The Commission went on to assure the NDC that the issues they had presented to the Commission were the typical issues that usually arise from any voter registration exercise and which found expression in the provisional voters register. The Commission explained at the meeting that the very essence of the exhibition exercise was to unearth discrepancies such as those detected by the NDC. That notwithstanding, we requested the data for the sole purpose of addressing each issue case by case in order to allay the fears of the NDC and put them at rest. Unfortunately, we have not received the data, and the debate as to the credibility or otherwise of the provisional voters register has continued. It is for this reason that the Commission felt it necessary to hold this IPAC meeting in order to present all parties with an opportunity to present any issues they may have detected with the provisional voters register. Additionally, the meeting will afford the Commission the opportunity to present its report on the revisions made to the provisional voters register to date. It is important to emphasize that the register in question is a provisional one. As its name suggests, it is a draft. It is not the final voters register. It is not perfect, and it is not final. Regulation 23 and 24 of the Public Elections Registration of Voters Regulations 2016, CI 91 as amended by CI 126, enjoin the Commission to display the provisional register at all exhibition centers nationwide to allow for an inspection and revision and correction where necessary. This and other legal and administrative processes are carried out before a final register is produced. Indeed, CI 91 recognizes that the provisional voters register is a draft register. Cognizant of the fact that a provisional voters register is bound to contain discrepancies, CI 91 instituted the mechanism of the exhibition exercise to allow for the cleaning and revision of the provisional voters register to ensure that it is credible and robust for an election. The register is thus displayed in all polling stations or exhibition centers and via electronic media to allow for its inspection and correction where necessary. In essence, the exhibition exercise, as enshrined in the constitutional instrument, provides the legal basis to clean the provisional register. Ladies and gentlemen, you agree with me that as with any human endeavor, such as the registration of voters, there are bound to be discrepancies. One cannot expect that a provisional register will be perfect. It is for that reason that Regulation 23 and 24 of CI 91 provide clear, well-defined pathways to cure and deal with likely anomalies that are bound to arise from the provisional voters register, including missing names, errors in biographical data, the existence of deceased persons on the register, incorrect designation of polling stations, among others. These are some of the issues which formed part of the NDC's presentation to the Electoral Commission. As stated earlier, these errors are not unusual. They are the typical errors that arise out of any registration process, and they are age-old legal and administrative processes to correct them. All it takes is a conscientious effort and time, and the Electoral Commission has employed both. As a commission, we have devoted the last few weeks to correct the discrepancies, and you will find that the provisional voters register today is different and more accurate than what was exhibited and provided to the parties in August 2024. It is important to note that the Commission, in cleaning the provisional voters register, employed a rigorous four-pronged approach as follows. Voters who visited our exhibition centers and who viewed their details via electronic media and detected errors with their details visited our district offices and had their issues rectified. Our exhibition officers in all our 40,000 plus exhibition centers scrutinized the register and reported discrepancies for correction by our IT team. Our field staff, namely our district officers and our regional officers, relied also on the register viewer, that is a soft copy of the register on their machines, to scrutinize the register and correct discrepancies. Our IT staff also utilized the register viewer to scrutinize the register and correct discrepancies. This approach has been very effective in helping to clean the register and rid it of discrepancies. As mentioned earlier, the discrepancies detected to date have been largely corrected, and the register that was presented to parties in early August is very different from what we have today. For the records, this same approach was adopted by the Commission prior to the production of the final voters register in 2020, and it worked effectively. Evidence shows that despite concerns raised about the effectiveness of that 2020 register to deliver a credible election, there were no voters who were denied the opportunity to vote during the 2020 election. This is the same approach we have adopted to clean the 2024 provisional voters register, and we have no doubt that it will deliver the same outcome, namely a credible and robust final voters register ahead of the 2024 election. As the body mandated by Article 45A of the 1992 Constitution to compile the register of voters and to revise it at such periods as may be determined by law, we urge you all to trust us to perform our functions as enshrined in the Constitution. The Commission has a track record and is globally respected for delivering free, fair, credible, and transparent elections and electoral processes, and this includes the compilation of the provisional voters register. Our staff are well trained and have the capacity and the competencies, as well as the skills, to undertake the task of producing a final and credible voters register. We certainly do not require external assistance in our line of work. By way of information, there exist legal and administrative processes that we follow from the registration exercise until the final voters register is produced. Right after the registration exercise, we institute what we call the district registration review committees, who sit in all districts to hear challenge cases presented by the citizenry. And we have the political parties, traditional authority, the security agencies as part of this committee, and they sit in every district. We have one in every district, and the composition, as I mentioned, includes representatives of the political parties. Following that, we go to what we call the adjudication process, and this also involves the political parties who adjudicate on persons who are brought up by the IT systems, and for a determination to be made as to whether they undertook multiple registrations or not. Here again, we have representatives of the political parties who work with the Commission to establish the rules and to take the decisions concerning these persons who are unearthed. Then we go to the exhibition of the provisional register, and this allows for an inspection and correction of discrepancies. Following that, we have the sittings of the district registration review officers. And these are magistrates appointed by the Chief Justice of Ghana to every district. And they hear and rule on cases, including the objections to persons on the voters' register. It is followed by the review and authentication of the magistrates appointed in each of the districts. Following their reviews and rulings on each of the cases, our district officers then implement the decisions of the magistrates. It is followed by a verification of the implementation of these decisions by our regional directorate, headed by our regional directors. Following that, we then, at the head office, compose a team made up of IT and electoral services, who then verify that all the decisions and all the recommendations provided have been fully implemented. It is after this stage that a final voters register is produced. And so you see the processes that we go through to arrive at a final voters register. As we speak, our district officers are implementing the decisions and recommendations of the district registration review officers, that is the magistrates. You will attest to the fact, ladies and gentlemen, from the above narration, that the production of a final voters register is a process. It is not a one-time event. Indeed, it does not happen overnight. It takes time from the completion of the registration exercise until the final voters register is produced. As noted earlier, our district officers are currently implementing the decisions of the magistrates. And this process will be followed by a verification and an audit of the provisional register by our regional staff, followed by our head office team. I like to state at this point that these processes have not been exhausted, and it is a position of the Commission that the call for a forensic audit is therefore premature. Ladies and gentlemen, in the spirit of transparency and accountability, the Commission will in the coming days re-exhibit the provisional voters register online. We have developed an online platform to allow voters review their registration details at no cost to the voter. Additionally, we will provide a time period within which voters will be able to report on any discrepancies they have with their registration details in the districts where they registered and have them resolved. The idea to allow a second exhibition of the provisional voters register is part of our efforts to open up our processes and to ensure that our register is robust and accurate for the 2024 election. We urge all voters to review their details and to present any discrepancies they may have to us. This process, we believe, will certainly guarantee a further cleaning of the register. In the coming days, the Commission would allow the time frame within which voters can submit their discrepancies or the discrepancies they detect with their details. And we reiterate that voters will be able to check these details free of all charges. As a further step towards transparency, the Commission will also provide all the political parties with copies of the revised provisional voters register. The political parties will have the opportunity to review the revised provisional voters register and report any discrepancies they may find with the register. We urge the parties to see this as a national assignment and not as a partisan assignment. Let us put Ghana first and put our hands to the plow and collectively clean the provisional voters register to ensure that it is robust ahead of the 2024 election. Indeed, the Commission has developed a template which it will share with political parties to allow them to report discrepancies they find with the register and present same to the Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, we are mindful of the importance of the voters' register in an election. It is the bedrock of any election. Indeed, an accurate voters' register is sine qua non for a fair, transparent, and credible election. It is in our interest as a commission to produce a credible and robust final voters' register. We did this in 2020, and we will do it again in 2024. We urge you all and the citizens of Ghana to trust us. We will not fail you. We will not disappoint you. And we commit and pledge to conducting and undertaking a free, fair, transparent, and credible election come December 2024. So help us God. May God bless our homeland, Ghana, and make her great and strong. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
Okay, Commander.
Yeah, the Roger.
Mama Jimensa.
Yeah, electoral commission.
And say, Abaya Yakwako 2 dear.
Yeah.
Oh my Ghana, young Queen Yinasha woman, sir.
Roger, no credit.
Trodo. Yeah.
Because wait, dear. A bet chinio. Sabi a bay you.
Yeah.
And ye you. In the electoral commission.
Yeah.
The best CBI your moi.
Yeah.
Did Roger, yes, shedding, I'm a payer.
Yeah.
Now, the writer before Saber Consemnation.
Yeah.
Who say electoral commission, any political party in 70 day.
Yeah.
A ye bebre.
Yeah.
But yen kind a month 70 tofa. Meet no more yeno. Ye a told Granny Mammy Jimenez and some more kai.
Yeah.
Ni theatre and no tofa boom. Now, the writer, in short words, electoral commission, some more catcher Ghana for you say. After some complaints a buy.
Yeah.
Now NDC for a trace a book no near my woman. Sebi atwache mano.
Yeah.
The writer omukoko hwem no e no kra niema best 5 and anko ya o masovu ni nyina wie. And they said the book no the writer provisional book electoral commission e wo sisi ane the problem bia ni ho. Na mum book a omede ba abonten elia no eno na problem mum but say de o masovu awie. Na no na nchen no omu wie ye no nyese o ma wie kra adwuma a wo ha omuguso ye ni bi ne se the right omo ICT department no and they say omo de adwuma ne fakese ama omo a omo ya manfo mbo betimi a check sabi omo details of omo voter registration no e wo online na wo ba bia wo kwoto aba ne nsem kaya e wo the writer o san kire mu say ye be say another exhibition exercise biem na je say manfo be san kwohwe omo din foforo biem after say sabi yakọ na yakọ first one no na book no enye clear nti na be san akọ na akọhwe second one biem na yakọ na akọhwe wi after that no omo assure Ghana for say abato ya yakọ no right ye benya a genuine electoral commission voter register na ye de ato aba na ye wie nso a election be free and fair emu be ye fine ama obi ate ne kwase na problem bia obi a wo bia no they said omo gidie se aba wie ye omo solve problems a ewo ho no na de aka eye modern mo omo bo say omo be ma ye the quality book bia Ghana for here as register eno an electoral committee omo nsem ya omo de tudwa na the writer nsem e ba say no and the giant status ye benya daje na ye tutu nsem ni mu kakra because according to electoral commission omo solve every single problem a man for indicate e wo book
problem bear
right electoral commission say problem say ba ye no e bi registration no
that be me just say NDC for the ensem no be two da no na obo say problem bi anim starting no
correct
na easily just say
problem ni
ho bi anim
right
entiafe no samfomso no ekoba omunya ne hefa
right omo say NDC alert e omo no ene mo decide say no omo bekọ akọhwe
so omo ankọhwe ma no omo nim samfomso
right omo de na omo hunu say you okay
omo ya we pa
the right no ena obi aka bie say electoral commission boapa eye book a na osusu say sabi obetimi dan niam bi opese wo ye ya onwene Ghanaian citizens ho nti enye say amanfo hu say say be book no problem go ma
Yeah.
and electoral commission on country
Yeah.
ke de sabe kwa kwato aba ebe wie no na de ebe siesi
Yeah.
na eno ena say masem nyina ne de Ghana for bisa ne say the right say electoral commission say why rectify mistakes na egwom
Yeah.
what if say mistakes 5 na NDC for mom hu ye na de aka e go book no a oman hu nso so yi
Yeah.
ebi ana the other mistakes ya NDC for na hu
Yeah.
anka ho asem
Yeah.
right and say other mistakes yaka and a mistake bi mpo anya mistake right
Yeah.
ade bo her deliberate e bi e di bibia sie
Yeah.
nti de ye de sie no say political party bi age register and say okohwem
Yeah.
okohwe register no na wanhu a
Yeah.
right at the end of the day on election day there say no it will come to work e ba
Yeah.
be ye adwuma
No question.
and one hwa time e be ye adwuma be we na hɔ na amanfo we say no ade we enye right
Yeah.
e ba sa pe right and say enye adwuma e de
Yeah.
ma abo beba but ade ba ko na me hu ni say electoral commission right no de no kra nie
Yeah.
asa wasini bododo right o kyerem e wɔ ne nsɛm nim say forensic audit de e premature
Yeah.
e intentem dodo
Yeah.
say ye beka say yenye external audit say ma company foforo from outside electoral commission e meye audit e wɔ electoral commission adwuma mu
Sɛ ɔno no hu ni sɛ saa dwumadi ne ba so a
yeah
ɛbɛ suppose na manfo ahu sɛ electoral commission no onim adwuma.
right asɛm ne nyina no
What you say?
because sɛ wo wɔ adwuma mu
Yeah.
na wo see w'adwuma a wɔyɛ no afia so wo bu nkonta no yɛ finkyim na obi say
Yeah.
nkonta no ɛnyɛ finkyim sɛ wo gyere sɛ finkyim a
Yeah.
fankrataa ne bra na yɛma obi nso so mɛhwɛ nkrataa nim
Yeah.
right wo see that bi nkrataa de obi nhwem
Yeah.
that means that there is something a ode hide wo de bibi sie
Yeah.
asɛm we Ghana for bebra complain a electoral commission nyana adwin so obetie
Yeah.
you see asɛm a wɔka nyina sɛ ɛyɛ premature that means sɛ yɛkɔ akɔduru bi mu ɔde still abatoɔ ne bɛn ne yɛhu sɛ book no still problem so ma ɛkyerɛ sɛ we can still go for an audit ɛhɔ ɛna mebisa sɛ right time aka yi yɛbɛyɛ exhibition
Yeah.
time aka yi yɛgu so rectify mistakes afi na book no yɛgu so yɛ ho adwuma yɛwie book no
Yeah.
nti sɛ yɛwie book no na yɛsan parties no kɔgye book no
Yeah.
because in August ɔmo release saa sɛbi provisional book no
Yeah.
ɛde ma political parties ɛwɔ Ghana ha
Yeah.
nti ɔmo release ma ɔmo ne ma NDC fo hu sɛ no there are mistakes
Yeah.
bebree wom the right say yɛsan release sɛ yɛayɛ book no wie ne yɛ release ma political parties na aka bi a 1 month ebi a 20 days to election
Yeah.
na ɔmo nso san ba bɔ sɛ no mistake we ni no mako ho
Yeah.
a saa time no afi na yɛba bɛ solve no
Oh.
na yɛwie a saa aka sɛ yɛba bɛyɛ external audit ana right saa time no yɛkɔ ya na yɛba
Yeah.
ade ne ne yɛnyɛ external audit ne prɛko
Yeah.
na yɛyɛ wie a na ɔmo nso mistakes ɔmo bɛhu sɛ ɛwɔ mu no
Yeah.
so ɔmo ho mistakes bi a na yɛka abom ne yɛasɔve no nyinaa once na yɛkɔ because at the time NDC ka mistakes no
Yeah.
ɛna electoral commission ti aseɛ ntɛm ɛna yɛyɛ audit yɛhu mistake bi a ɛwɔ mu throughout ɛna yɛ rectify ne nyinaa na yie ne nyinaa afiri mu a
Yeah.
right ka asɛm bi ani hɔ but madam Jemensa wohwɛ ne di mi na ne ade a right watoto n'ani awe
Yeah.
because the way a wɔtoɔ no koraa no ɛne sɛ de osi kasa ɔn sɛ a very nice woman
Yeah.
but the way a ɔkasa ne the way a wayi n'ani koraa no ɛkyerɛ sɛ she is not concerned
Oh, sure,
about
no,
dede na amoyɛ no
Ah.
ohun
On
ni
your
sɛ
family room.
of course ohun ni sɛ asɛ mo na mo pɛ kasa
Yeah.
ɛna mo yɛ dede bebree
Yeah.
electoral commission ɛde no hɔ yɛ independent body
Yeah.
but right ɛnyɛ saa
Dabi.
because electoral commission depend on ɔman fotuom
Yeah.
ansa na etuma yɛ adwuma
Yeah.
because company a wobɛyɛ adwuma agye sɛ wosrɛ sɛ aban me budget ni o
Yeah.
mo ma me sika na mefa nkɔyɛ adwuma na sɛ yɛma sika na kɔyɛ adwuma a na wɔn mu tua tax ni bi mo se
Yeah.
w'adwuma a woyɛ yi aha deɛ ɛnsɔ yɛ ni
Yeah.
hwɛ hɔ yie ma yɛ a wosi wontumi hwɛ hɔ yie mfa ma yɛ right electoral commission
Okay.
meeting ni deɛ aba wiye
Yeah.
and enim sɛ ɔmo bɛ release book no currently beebi a ɔmo ayɛ hɔ adwuma du no
Yeah.
ɔmo bɛ release deɛ ma political parties
Okay.
na ɔmo de ma parties na the right menim sɛ parties ne candidates ne nyinaa so no
Okay.
they will go back to the book
Yeah.
na ɔmo akɔyɛ ho adwuma na sɛ ɔmo wie a
Yeah.
right mistakes ɔmo nso bɛ hu no
Yeah.
they will bring it again one hwɛ
Yeah.
a yɛbɛkɔ aba yɛbɛsan aba abɛsi akyi
Yeah.
beebi a yɛwɔ nne nyinaa no yɛbɛsan aba abɛka the same story
Yeah.
right maame nyɛ
Yeah.
na yɛnkɔ
Yeah.
na akyire yi
Yeah.
yɛbɛsan aba biem.
Quick one. Yɛnkɔ mmra yɛbɛba sisi na yɛba a yɛne abigikye ɛna ɛbɛba na afei no biribiara ayɛ kama. Aha yɛ Brighter Media yɛakraefoɔ nyinaa